I know you are living, but inside you feel empty, as if your body keeps walking, but your soul is no longer there. And the worst part is that no one notices because you keep smiling, you keep working, you keep answering messages. But inside there is a silence that weighs heavily. Matthew 11:28 says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." Listen to me. That's not just a pretty verse. It's a real invitation. Because when everything seems empty, your mind is not failing. Your mind is asking for meaning, and your spirit is asking for direction. I want you to understand something from neuroscience. Emptiness is not always sadness. Sometimes it's disconnection. It's when your brain shuts down inside because it has been resisting for too long, too strong for too long, too silent for too long, too compliant for too long, without feeling. And that's why today, nothing excites you like before. Nothing fills you, nothing motivates you. Not even the things you prayed for years ago. But here comes a truth that changes everything. When you feel empty, it doesn't mean you lost your life. It means you lost the meaning. Because the human brain doesn't just need to do things. It needs a reason to get up. It needs an emotional reward. It needs an internal signal that what you do is worthwhile. And when that signal disappears, everything feels the same. Everything feels gray. And I know you've tried to fix it with force. You've tried to distract yourself. You've tried to fill the void with noise, with networks, with food, with work, with people. But the void is not filled with more things. The void is filled with truth. That's why today I didn't come to tell you cheer up as if it were easy. I came to tell you that emptiness is not your enemy. It's an alarm. It's the exact point where God begins to rebuild you from within. And if you stay with me until the end of this video, I'm going to give you something practical. 3 simple steps to regain meaning in 7 days. Even if you feel nothing today, because you don't need to feel strong to start. You just need a direction. But first, I need you to do one thing with me. Breathe, slowly, as if your mind could finally rest. Because peace doesn't always come when everything is fixed. Peace comes when you finally understand what's happening to you. And now tell me, when was the last time you truly felt alive? There are people who believe that emptiness appears because something bad happened. But often, emptiness appears because nothing happened, and yet you got tired. You got tired of waiting. You got tired of being strong. You got tired of holding everything up without anyone holding you up. You got tired of feeling like you give, and inside there's nothing left. And here's something almost no one understands. Emptiness is not a lack of capacity. It's a lack of meaning. From a neuroscience perspective, when a person lives too long in survival mode, their brain starts to save emotional energy. Because feeling too much hurts, waiting too long hurts. Believing too much and seeing no results hurts. So to protect you, your mind does something silent. It disconnects you. It doesn't kill you. It doesn't destroy you. It just turns you off a little, so you don't break. That's why you're not weak. You are overloaded. Psalm 34:18 says, "The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." Do you know what that means in real life? That God is not far from you when you are empty. God is closer than ever. But your mind doesn't feel it because you're in protection mode. And here comes the most important part. You won't recover meaning all at once. It's not a button. It's not a motivational phrase. It's not a "tomorrow I'll be fine." Meaning is recovered like life recovers after winter, little by little, but real. I'm going to tell you something that happens to a lot of people, and maybe it's happening to you. There comes a time in life when you no longer cry because you've cried all you could, and you no longer complain because you've explained how you felt 1,000 times and no one understood. And you no longer argue because you got tired of asking for the bare minimum. And then that strange silence arrives. That silence where you look at yourself in the mirror and say, "What's happening to me? If I have life, why do I feel nothing?" That is emptiness. It's not that you don't have reasons. It's that your soul is asking for a deeper reason. Because there are two types of tiredness, the tiredness of the body and the tiredness of purpose. And the tiredness of purpose feels like this. You do everything, but it no longer fulfills you. And this is where many people make the biggest mistake. They think they need more motivation. No, what you need is not motivation. What you need is meaning. And meaning is not born when everything is perfect. Meaning is born when you understand why you are still here, even in pain. Ecclesiastes 3:1 says, "To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven." Your emptiness also has a time, and though it may sound harsh, this time is speaking about you. Because emptiness appears when you have grown, but your life has not yet adapted to your new version. You are no longer who you were before, but you are still living as if you were who you were before. You still demand from yourself as before. You still carry burdens as before. You still keep silent as before. And your mind says, "I can't anymore." And your spirit says, "I need to return to God." But listen to this calmly. God doesn't just want you to be productive. God wants you alive. And in this video, I won't promise you that everything will be easy tomorrow. But I will show you the way to recover meaning without depending on feeling good first. Because real recovery begins like this, with a small decision on an empty day. Stay with me. Because what comes now is the part that changes everything. The reason you feel empty is not because you lack strength. It's because your mind is waiting for a sign. And that sign you can create. Now listen to this, because this is where many lives change. Your mind is waiting for a sign, a proof, a something that tells it it's worth continuing. And when it doesn't receive it, the brain enters a dangerous state. Everything feels the same. Everything feels heavy. Everything feels useless. That's called anhedonia, which is when the brain loses the ability to feel pleasure or emotion for things that used to make you feel good. And no, it doesn't mean you are broken. It means your emotional system is tired. But here comes the powerful part. The brain doesn't need a giant miracle to feel alive again. The brain needs a chain of small victories. And this is where God enters in a beautiful way. Because God doesn't only work in the big things. God works in the small things. Zechariah 4:10 says, "Do not despise the day of small beginnings." Do you know what that means for you today? That even if you feel empty, your next step doesn't have to be enormous. It has to be real. Because meaning doesn't come when you wait to feel better. Meaning comes when you move even if you feel nothing. And here, I will speak clearly. If you are waiting to feel motivated to start, you will get stuck. Because motivation doesn't come first. First comes movement, and movement creates emotion. And emotion creates hope, and hope creates meaning. That's why some people say, "I was broken, but one day I got up, did one small thing, and something inside me came back." It wasn't magic, it was neuroscience. And it was God. Because when you take a small step, your brain releases a minimal reward signal. It's not complete happiness, but it's an internal message that says, "I still can. There's still a way. There's still a way out." And that's the first spark. The void is not broken with an explosion. The void is broken with a spark. Now, I want you to think about this. What if the emptiness you feel wasn't a punishment? What if it was a calling? Because there are voids that don't come to destroy you. They come to get you out of a life that was no longer yours. There are people who feel empty because they are living a life that doesn't belong to them, a job they don't love, a relationship where they feel invisible, a routine where they feel trapped, an identity that no longer fits. And the soul begins to scream, but since it has no voice, it turns into emptiness. And you ask yourself, why do I feel nothing anymore? But in reality, your spirit is saying, because you can no longer live like this. And here comes the phrase you need to hear today. You are not losing your life. You are losing an old version of yourself, and that hurts. Because inner change always feels like a silent death. But it's not the end, it's the beginning. John 12:24 says, Unless a grain of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains only a single seed. But if it dies, it produces many seeds. There are parts of you that are dying, but not because God abandoned you, but because God is preparing you to bear fruit. And I know you want proof. I know you want signs. I know you want to feel something now. But recovery doesn't start when you feel. It starts when you decide. And that's why now we are going to enter the most practical part of the video: how to recover meaning when everything seems empty. In real life, in your home, in your mind, in your heart. And I am going to teach you in a simple way, not with theories, but with steps. Stay with me, because in the next block I will show you the first step that breaks the void. How to feel life again without depending on a big external change. And when you understand this, you will stop thinking that you are lost. Because you are not lost, you are waking up. Now listen to this. This is where meaning returns to you. Because emptiness is not fought with words, it is fought with direction. And I promised you something. 3 simple steps to regain meaning in 7 days, even if you feel nothing today. This is the first, and it is the most important. Step 1, recover your life signal with a daily micro-action. Sounds too simple, right? But that's exactly why it works. Because when you are empty, your mind doesn't need a huge plan. Your mind needs a small signal that tells it, there's still movement, there's still a future, there's still control. Neuroscience explains it like this. When you are in emptiness, your brain enters save mode. It reduces emotion, reduces energy, reduces desire, and you feel like you are shut down. So if you try to change your whole life in one day, your brain gets scared. It blocks, and you fall back. That's why the way out is a micro-action. One small thing, but constant. And here comes the spiritual part. God doesn't ask you to be strong. God asks you to be faithful in the small things. Because faith doesn't always feel like fire. Sometimes faith feels like getting up, even if you don't feel like it inside. Now listen to this very carefully. Meaning returns when you teach your mind that you can still keep a promise to yourself. And that promise has to be so small that it's impossible to fail. For example, 3 minutes of silence without your phone, 1 glass of water as soon as you wake up, 1 short prayer before getting out of bed, 1 7-minute walk, 1 page of a book, 1 message of gratitude to someone, 1 song that calms you, 1 verse written on a note. It doesn't matter what it is. It matters that it's daily. It matters that it's real. Because every time you complete a micro-action, your brain releases a reward signal. It's not happiness, it's identity. Your mind begins to say, I am someone who can. I am someone who is coming back. I am someone who doesn't give up. And that starts to build meaning. And Brian, I want to tell you a brief story, because I know you need to see this clearly. There was a person I knew who was exactly like this, empty inside, tired outside, operating on autopilot. And the worst part was this: no one believed them, because from the outside they looked fine. But inside, it was like walking with a stone in their chest. That person tried to change everything. They tried to go out more. They tried to exercise hard. They tried to fill their life with things, and failed. Not because they were weak, but because they were trying to get out of emptiness with force, instead of getting out with direction. Then they did something different. Woke up one day and said, today I'm not going to fix my life. Today I'm just going to keep a small promise. And the promise was simple. Every morning before touching their phone, they would say a 20-second prayer. Only that: God, today I feel nothing, but don't let go of me. Guide me, give me a sign. And at first, nothing changed. But after a few days, something inside began to breathe. Because the soul doesn't need noise, the soul needs presence. And God's presence doesn't always come as emotion. Sometimes it comes as stability. And here's the key: when you are empty, your brain seeks intensity, but your spirit seeks peace. And peace doesn't come with more stimuli. Peace comes with repetition, with ritual, with constancy. That's why this first step is like this. Choose a daily micro-action and do it for 7 days. not out of motivation, out of identity. Because in 7 days, you won't just change a habit. You will recover a part of yourself. And if you do this, emptiness begins to lose power. Because emptiness feeds on a lie, I can't. But you are going to show your mind the opposite. And now tell me, if you could choose a daily micro-action to start today, which would it be? Now let's move on to step 2. And this step is for those days when you try to get up, but your mind pushes you down. Because emptiness doesn't come alone. Emptiness comes with thoughts. Thoughts that sound like this: I'm not the same anymore. I don't feel like it anymore. I'm wasting my time. Nothing will change. I always end up the same. God no longer listens to me. I'm alone. I'm useless. And here's the problem. When you are empty, your mind becomes more convincing. Because the brain seeks a quick explanation for the pain. And the easiest explanation is almost always to blame you. But I need to tell you this clearly. You are not your thoughts. You are the person listening to them. And if you learn to break that cycle, your life changes. Step 2, change the internal dialogue with an anchor phrase. This is not cheap positive thinking. This is real neuroscience. Because your brain works with roots, with repeated paths. If you repeat a thought 1,000 times, it becomes automatic. It becomes your internal truth, even if it's a lie. And that's why when you are empty, your mind is not looking for the truth. It's repeating what it knows. So what do? We don't fight against the mind, we redirect it. And here comes the anchor phrase. An anchor phrase is a short phrase that you repeat when the dark thought appears. Not to pretend that everything is fine, but to regain control. Because when you are empty, you need control. And the Bible has already given you the basis for this. 2 Corinthians 10:5 says, taking every thought captive to obey Christ. That means not every thought deserves to stay in your mind. Not every thought is yours. Not every thought is true. So here are 3 powerful anchor phrases. You choose one and use it for 7 days. Anchor phrase 1, this is a moment. It is not my identity. Anchor phrase 2, my mind is tired, but God is guiding me. Anchor phrase 3, today I don't need to feel strength, I just need direction. Now listen, when the thought comes, you don't argue with it. You don't analyze it. You don't enter the conversation. Because if you enter, the thought wins. You do this. 1, recognize it. I'm having a thought of emptiness. 2, name it. This is exhaustion. It's not my destiny. 3, anchor it. Repeat your anchor phrase. 4, go back to your micro-action from step 1. And here's the neuroscience trick. Your brain cannot sustain a negative thought with the same force if you shift your attention to a concrete action. That's why the anchor phrase doesn't work alone. It works together with movement. Because thought is air, but movement is reality. And now I'm going to tell you something that will set you free. Sometimes you think you lack faith, but you don't lack faith, you lack rest. Elijah was a powerful prophet, and yet there was a day when he broke down. He felt afraid, he felt tired. He felt he couldn't go on. And do you know what God did? God didn't scold him, God didn't humiliate him. God didn't tell him you should be stronger. God gave him food, he gave him water, and he let him sleep. Because there are spiritual battles that feel like depression, but in reality, they are exhaustion. And when you are exhausted, your mind invents dark stories. But you are not going to believe those stories, because you are coming back. And here's a question that will wake you up. If God still sustains you, why do you keep talking to yourself as if you were already lost? No. From today, you change the dialogue. From today, you treat yourself as someone who is healing. And when the thought nothing makes sense comes, you respond with your anchor phrase, this is a moment. It is not my identity. And then you do your micro-action, even if it's small, even if it's slow, even if it's without emotion. Because meaning is not recovered in a single day, but it is recovered with consistency. And now listen to this final truth, because this is key. Emptiness is not overcome by fighting against your mind. Emptiness is overcome by training your mind. Every time you choose your anchor phrase, you are building a new mental route. Every time you don't believe the dark thought, you are regaining power. Every time you return to God in the midst of silence, you are healing. And if you do this for 7 days, you will notice something. It's not that your life suddenly changed. It's that you started breathing again inside. And when you start breathing again inside, meaning begins to return. Now, yes, we have reached step 3. And this step is what transforms emptiness into direction. Because there's something no one tells you when you're empty. You don't need to find your life's purpose today. You need a simple purpose for this day. And here's the problem. When a person is empty, their mind goes to the future. It goes to the big picture. It goes to the pressure. And they start thinking, what if I'm never happy again? What if my life has no meaning? What if I achieve nothing? What if this never changes? And the brain collapses because a hopeless future feels like a prison. But God never asked you to live in the future. God asked you to live with faith today. Matthew 6:34 says, "Therefore do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself." Each day has enough trouble of its own. That is pure wisdom. That is medicine for the mind. Because emptiness grows when you try to carry your whole life in a single thought. And that's why step 3 is this. Step 3. Regain meaning with a 24-hour purpose. Not an eternal purpose, not a giant mission. A purpose for today. From a neuroscience perspective, this is key. Your brain needs clarity. It needs a small, concrete goal. When there's no goal, there's anxiety. When there's a goal, there's direction. And when there's direction, emptiness loses its power. So today, you're going to choose one of these 3 purpose routes. Just one. Route 1. Self-care purpose. Today, my purpose is to care for myself as someone who is healing. I don't demand perfection, I demand presence. Route 2. Ordering purpose. Today, my purpose is to bring order to one small thing: my bed, my room, my mind, my agenda. External order calms internal chaos. Route 3, serving purpose today. My purpose is to do something good for someone, a message, help, a prayer for another person. Because serving breaks emptiness. And now I'm going to tell you something very profound. Emptiness breaks when you feel that your life impacts something, even if it's minimal, even if it's silent, even if no one applauds it. Because meaning is born when you feel again that you exist for a reason. And here comes the strongest point. Sometimes you are not empty because you lack love. You are empty because you lack direction. And direction is different from emotion. Emotion comes and goes. But direction sustains you even when you feel nothing. That's why today you are going to live with a simple phrase. My purpose today is to take one step forward. One step, not 10, not 101. And that step, repeated, becomes a path. Now I want you to imagine something. Imagine your life is like a dark room, and you are inside, and you see nothing. What does a person do when they are in a dark room? They don't run, they don't scream. They don't despair, they look for a small light. A small light, because a small light doesn't illuminate everything, but it shows you the next step. And God works like that. God doesn't always show you the whole map. God shows you the next step. Psalm 119:105 says, "Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light for my path." A lamp to my feet, not to the future, to my feet. That means God gives you light for this step, for this day, for this moment. And when you return to living one day at a time, your mind stops drowning. So now, let's recap the 3 steps in 7 days. Step 1, daily micro-action to regain a sign of life. Step 2, anchor phrase to cut off dark thoughts. Step 3, 24-hour purpose to regain direction. And here comes the most beautiful part. If you do this for 7 days, you will not only feel better, you will recognize yourself again. Because emptiness robs you of one thing, your identity. But these steps give it back to you. And now tell me, if today were the first day of your return, what would be your 24-hour purpose? Now we come to the deepest part of this whole video. Because if you have felt emptiness, there's a question that haunts you inside. Why does God allow me to feel this way? And I will not answer you with easy phrases. I will answer you with truth. There are seasons when God doesn't shout at you. God trains you. There are seasons when you feel nothing. because God is silently rebuilding your interior. And here's what almost no one understands. Emptiness doesn't always mean absence of God. Sometimes it means God is making space. Space for a new mindset. Space for a new version of you. Space for a new direction. Because if you keep being full of noise, you don't listen. If you keep being full of haste, you don't feel. If you keep being full of people, you don't find yourself. That's why emptiness, even though it hurts, has a function. It brings you back to the essential. And here's a truth from neuroscience. When a person lives too long, overstimulated, with social media, pressure, problems, expectations, their brain gets saturated. And when the brain gets saturated, it shuts down. Not out of weakness, out of protection. So you feel empty, but in reality your nervous system is saying, I need silence to survive. And God uses that silence. Because silence is not punishment, silence is formation. Jesus himself lived seasons of silence. Jesus withdrew. Jesus stayed alone. Jesus prayed when no one saw him. And he didn't do it because he was losing. He did it because he was preparing. And here's the part that will touch your heart. There are people who feel empty because they are waiting to feel peace. But peace doesn't feel like an emotion. Peace feels like stability. It's when you move forward without drama. It's when you breathe even if there's no answer. It's when you trust even if there are no results yet. And that is spiritual maturity. And you are entering a new stage. Therefore, if today you feel empty, I want you to understand this. You are not regressing. You are letting go of a version of yourself that can't take it anymore. Letting go of a way of living that was draining you. Letting go of a burden that was never yours. Because emptiness appears when your soul says, I can't keep pretending. And that, even though it hurts, is an act of bravery. Now I want to tell you something that will sound strong, but it's true. Emptiness is the place where superficial people are separated from profound people. Because there are people who only live when everything is well. But there are people like you who are learning to live even when everything feels gray. And that kind of person, God uses them. Because you won't speak from theory. You will speak from experience. You won't help others from what I read. You will help from I was there. And when you come out of emptiness, your voice changes, your gaze changes. Your heart becomes stronger and more sensitive at the same time. Now listen to this part calmly. Sometimes you're waiting for emptiness to leave to start anew. But God is waiting for you to start anew, for emptiness to leave. Because healing doesn't always feel like a magical moment. Healing feels like small, repeated decisions. And perhaps you are healing, but you don't notice it. So how do you know you are healing even if you don't feel it yet? I'll tell you, you are healing when you breathe deeply again for no reason. You sleep a little better again. You have a thought of hope again. You do one small thing for yourself again. You talk to yourself with respect again. You seek God again without demanding signs. You feel like trying again. That is healing. It's not an explosion, it's a return. And here comes the climax of this video. Your emptiness is not the end of your story. Your emptiness is the place where God is writing your next stage. Because when you feel nothing and yet you continue, that is faith. Hebrews 11:1 says, Now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. Assurance about what is unseen, that is exactly what you are doing now. You are believing without seeing. You are walking without feeling. You are resisting without applause. And I need you to know this. God sees. God knows. God is with you. And now, only the final closing remains. The closing that brings back your fire, but with calm. The closing that leaves you with a phrase to repeat on empty days. And now, we reach the end. But before you go, I want you to hear this as if it were the last time someone told you, you are not empty because you lack courage. You are empty because your soul is asking for new meaning. And that is not shame, that is growth. Because when you were younger, anything filled you up, but now you've grown. And what used to entertain you, today no longer sustains you. So don't blame yourself. Don't attack yourself. Don't talk to yourself like an enemy. Talk to yourself like someone who is returning, because you are not at the end. You are at the beginning of your comeback. And I want to leave you with a phrase to repeat on empty days. A short phrase, a phrase that anchors you. Repeat it with me. Today, I don't need to feel everything. I just need to take one step with God. Again, today I don't need to feel everything. I just need to take one step with God. Because emptiness wants to stop you, but God wants to guide you. And now, I'm going to say a short, simple, real prayer for you. Not to impress, but to sustain you. God, today I feel empty. I have no strength, but I have a heart that still seeks you. I have no answers, but I have a faith that does not want to die. Touch my mind, calm my chest, order my thoughts. Give me direction for this day. Give me peace for this moment. And remind me that I am not alone. Amen. Breathe and listen to this, because this is what will lift you up. Not everything that feels empty is lost. Sometimes emptiness is just the space where God will put something new, and you already have the way. The 3 steps in 7 days. 1, one daily micro action. 2, an anchor phrase. 3, a 24-hour purpose. Keep it simple. Keep it real. Do it with God. And if you want to keep moving forward with direction every day, with a daily guide to accompany you in your process, I have prepared something for you. It's in the link in my profile. Not to pressure you, but to help you walk one day at a time. Because you were not born to survive. You were born to live. And now, before you go, I want to ask you something. If this video spoke to you, like it. Share it with someone who is smiling on the outside today, but empty on the inside. And comment here below with just one word, so I know you are in this process. Write. Return. Yes, just that. Return, because when you write it, your mind hears it. And when your mind hears it, your life begins to change. See you in the next video. And remember, even if you feel nothing today, God is still writing your story.